Hey, everyone, and welcome back to the Travel and Tourism Podcast, my first season. My guest today and I worked together in Club Med Cancun during the 2004-2005 Dream Team season with Hendel. His first season, however, was in Club Med Sandpiper as a water ski geo in July of 2004. He has a BA in Business Management and a minor in French, and after Club Med, he earned a master's degree in Hospitality and Tourism Management. So, not only did he never tell me he had a minor in French when we worked together, he also never told me that he studied abroad for a semester in 2002 in the south of France. He met his wife while working for Club Med, and they now have 2 kids. In his spare time and for fun, he likes to trail and ultra run. Let me say that again. He likes to ultra run for fun. Okay. And he just taught his 9-year-old daughter how to barefoot ski this summer. Actually, no skis and barefoot. So just barefoot. Who is this guy and why do I want to be him? I am talking about the one, the only, the guy with the best soap opera sounding name there ever was. From Chicago, now living in Austin, Texas, the one, the only, Parker Burke. Hey, Parker, how are you?
Hey, Greg. Thanks so much.
All right. Good intro, huh?
That was fantastic.
I'm getting better at these things now that I'm going to rehearsal. Okay. So thanks again for taking the time out of your day to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me. It's an honor.
You were always one of the guys, seemed to me in a perennial good mood, in Club Med when I met you that season in Cancun. You always seemed happy and always in a great mood. Is that a fair description?
I try. Yeah, I try to stay positive. And, I feel like in Club Med, you're always saying hello to guests and trying to keep a smile on your face. So it's kind of contagious and it kind of almost forces you to be in a good mood.
I even was doing that when I stopped after 10 years. I was saying hello to people on the sidewalk in Montreal,
right.
Going, stop it. Okay.
They're the same thing. My wife and I would be like walking around the streets of Chicago and, just random people would be like, be like, hello. People like,
that's crazy,
why are you talking?
Yeah, so maybe there's some happy countries where that's normal, but in the big cities, they're like, why'd that guy say hi to me? What's he want? Yeah, it's so weird, huh?
Exactly.
Well, we said you were originally from Chicago in your intro. So if you can take me back in time, before Club Med, I guess you were going to school, or maybe you went to Club Med when you were younger. What were you doing and how'd you find out about Club Med?
Yeah, good question. So I graduated from college in 2004. I was trying to figure out what to do after that. And I wanted to get into travel, hospitality, tourism. And my mom had visited a Club Med. I think it was Paradise Island a couple of years ago or, before that. And she's like, hey, maybe, check out Club Med. So I'd never been. My mom, had went once, my younger brother. And so did some research and applied online.
Oh, really? Is that simple?
It was, that was the start of it. That was where things started.
And where did you get an interview shortly thereafter?
Yeah. So, the cool thing is that, as you mentioned in my intro, I was a French minor and I got an interview scheduled or an audition, right? I went to school in Pennsylvania and the closest audition was in New Jersey. So a friend and I...
Can I back you up just a sec, Parker?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, since I'm from Montreal, why did you want a minor in French? Where did that come from?
Good question. So let's see. So I think it was my sophomore year, my second year of college. I was taking French because there was a language requirement and I took French in grade school growing up. So instead of totally switching to something like Spanish, I stuck with, what I learned in grade school, in high school, and through college. I was taking French and my French instructor, our professor, asked the class if anyone was interested in studying abroad. And I'm thinking to myself everybody in France speaks English. This will be easy. I don't really have to be too good at French to make this work. So I raised my hand and down the road I went. And so the next year I was studying abroad in the south of France and I was in the south, not in, somewhere like Paris. So not a lot of people spoke English, much to my surprise. And so that was a little challenging. I was writing home to my parents saying, this was a mistake. I got to get out of here. But, they encouraged me to stick with it. And I just learned as much as I could, as quickly as I could, and started to get the hang of it. So by the time I got back to the US after that semester, I felt like I had, put some time in and invested my time and effort to learning French. And I had taken some classes abroad as well that just made sense to continue with. So once I got back to Gettysburg College, I had, fulfilled a good part of the minor requirements. And so I just continued with it.
Okay. Now for our French listeners, why don't you tell them where in the south of France you were studying?
Yeah, I studied in Aix-en-Provence.
Is it beautiful there?
Is it what?
Beautiful there?
It was gorgeous. Yeah. It was a university town. So there were plenty of students my age and a lot to do. There are a lot of fountains everywhere.
Oh, really? Okay.
But every weekend it was really cool. Every weekend we went to a different country. One time went to Munich for Oktoberfest. We went up to Ireland. Fall break, we went over to Barcelona, to Italy, to Amsterdam. So every weekend it was a different adventure, which was really, really cool. So I had a blast.
Nice. Okay, so let's get back to your interview. Where was your interview held?
Yeah, so the interview was in New Jersey at a hotel, so not too far from where I was going to school. And a friend and I went up there, and I learned that it was a French company. So I told my French instructor, my French professor, that I had this interview, and she got really excited. And so we started, she helped me prepare for it. But a friend and I went up there, and, the idea is to sing a song, tell a joke, do something.
Did you do something like that?
I did. So,
okay, let's hear it.
So I did. Anybody that worked with me in Club Med will know what I'm talking about by the elephant. But so I did the elephant at my audition, and it's nothing.
Wait a minute. This is a bit hazy. Are you saying you're imitating an elephant?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So
all right, got it. It's coming back.
Made a big, loud elephant noise with my mouth, stuck my belly out, and kind of danced around, making really loud, obnoxious noises. And everyone in the room, their jaws just dropped.
They thought this guy's he's got no chance, right?
Yeah. Either I totally bombed that audition, or I totally crushed it.
Okay. Well, you took a huge swing there and looked like you connected, right?
Big swing, yeah. The friend that I traveled up to the audition with from college, told a joke or something. So maybe I should have stayed in that lane, but. I was the one that got the job. So
the friend who told the safe joke didn't get in?
Didn't get it. No.
Oh, okay. All right. Now, how long after the interview do they contact you and tell you you're going to Sandpiper?
Yeah. So I think it was about 2 weeks after I got a call, or maybe it was a letter saying that, because I applied for a water ski geo job.
Question: How old were you when you started water skiing?
I was 10. When
10?
I started water skiing.
Okay, wow, pretty cool.
Learned to barefoot when I was, I think, 12.
Oh, really? Okay, so your daughter did it before you.
Yeah, that's what I told her. Give her some confidence. Yeah.
Wow. All right, and not often do geos get their first request, but it looks like you did. You wanted water ski geo.
Well, actually, I didn't. So
no? Okay.
I got a call, and they said, "Hey, we've got this great position for you. It's a land sports geo in Punta Cana, and if you want to do water ski, you can kind of hold out until a position opens up." And maybe I didn't know enough about Club Med, so I wasn't willing to just take any job to get in the door. So I politely declined it and said, I'm going to wait until a water ski job opens up. And a week after that, a spot had opened up in Sandpiper, and I got a call for it. And
yeah, there's always someone getting hurt or leaving, right? So especially in water ski. All right. And now, did you know anything about Sandpiper?
I didn't know anything. Nope.
Were you did you have dreams of where you had just been in school, like Italy and Switzerland, and then they thought Sandpiper, Florida, or were you cool with that?
Yeah, I just went into it with an open mind. I'd spent some time in Florida, on vacations and things, but I'd never been to that area, and just went into it with an open mind and excited to do something totally different than a lot of my friends who had just graduated college too.
And were you wondering where the beach was when you arrived?
Yeah, I think I was a little bit. I was expecting to see more beach
Yeah.
at the club. Yeah, I was there for water ski and knew that water skiing on the ocean wasn't the best.
Do you
So
do you remember arriving that week, that day, like
I
going to
do,
reception? What was that
I
like?
do. Yeah, it was actually. I knew that I had come to a special place or great place because when I got in really late at night. Nothing was going on. Everything was closed, but there was somebody in reception, the front desk, and came in, after a full day of traveling, really tired, and I was like, "Hey, I'm a new GO. I'm Parker," and I don't remember her name. I wish I did, but she got like so excited and she like jumped up. She's like, "Whoa, this is awesome! Like, welcome!" And I'm like, "Oh man, what a welcome! This is this is really cool. I wasn't expecting."
Did they think you were a GM?
No, no,
Okay.
they just yeah. I was shocked that somebody could pull it together and be that excited at whatever time at night it was. So that kind of stuck out in my mind and still does. That was joining a special team.
So what was that? Was that first week like? Were you running around with your head cut off? Culture shock? What'd you have going on?
Yeah, it was definitely a culture shock. I remember the next morning, my chief of service, Jeff Davidson, came and met me, and he's like, "All right, we're going to go out to the pool. We're going to do some crazy signs." And right. So when my mom told me about Club Med, she didn't mention any of these, any of this
Yeah.
stuff. Right. So I didn't really know what I was getting into from that perspective. And I think Jeff was leading the crazy sign that morning. And
No, wait, Parker. Sorry,
yeah,
was Jeff Jeff the chief of sports? Is that what you're saying?
chief of chief of beach. Yeah.
Okay.
Chief of
Okay.
water sports, maybe.
Now, did you break out this elephant thing at the crazy signs at the pool?
Well, so it's actually pretty funny. So one of the first nights, Kevin Batt, who was the chief of village at the time, met me and was introducing myself at the sandbar, the bar inside Sandpiper, and he asked me what I did for my audition. I think maybe it was just like a normal question you ask other new
Oh,
hires, and
oh no, you told Kevin Batt what you did?
yeah, I was like, well,
Okay.
I did what I call the elephant, and he's like, well, and it's like, what is it, like a joke? Or I'm like, no, it's like a thing I do. I can show you right now. So I showed him, and he pretty much his jaw dropped as well. He's like, oh my gosh, this is insane. So what he did was when they introduced all the new GOs to the team, I think it was either later that night or the next night, we all stood up in the I forget what it's called, the auditorium where they do all the shows, and everyone stood up in front, all GO meeting, and everybody introduced themselves. And after I introduced myself, Kevin interjected and said, "All right, Parker, why don't you share with everybody how you got the job in your audition?" So I stood up and did the elephant in front of whatever it was, 120, 150 people. And so there I am, doing the elephant, and that's kind of how it stuck with me. So before I know it, several seasons later, people are chanting for me to do the elephant at a drop of a hat to stir up the party, I guess. So
Okay, so you had no idea that was going to stick with you.
no idea it was going to stick, but thanks to
Okay.
Kevin, everybody knew about it, and it stuck with me.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of like when Ellen DeGeneres started dancing on her daytime talk show. She was just doing it once, but then everyone liked it, and then she was caught. She was caught in a dancing hell for 10 years, because everyone wanted to see it except the person doing it. Okay.
Right. No, I loved it. It was fun.
Do you still do it?
No, I try
Okay.
to teach my kids to do it though. I feel like it's yeah, it's not something that everybody can do, but I figure maybe my kids could
Or
do it.
or because if your dad's doing it, it's not cool, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, did an elephant training session one day.
Come on, Dad, barf. Okay, what are you
Yeah,
doing?
yeah, right.
All right.
Exactly.
So, what the heck? So you're doing your job, okay? You're now. Do you describe that a lake or a pond that you're water skiing on at Sandpiper? I can't remember. What is that? Or is it a body of water?
Yeah, it was a river.
A river. Okay.
It was a river. Yeah.
And
It's
anything funny happen in your first couple of weeks piloting a boat or water ski show? Anything?
Nothing terribly funny. It was definitely a change though, right? Like going from, doing crazy signs. Like I said, that first day I was like, this is, I stood off to the side, kind of like, yeah, way too cool for whatever these people are doing. Like, I'm never going to get into this. This is lame kind of, but sooner or later I was, maybe by the end of that season or the next season, I'm the guy, up on stage, leading the crazy signs. So it definitely got into my blood and really, really got into the crazy sign.
So you were there from about July 2004 to October 2004. And
yeah,
I think you had a bit of a hurricane there, maybe? Hurricane Francis?
Yes. Yeah. Hurricane Francis. So Hurricane Francis, it was after only like 3 or 4 months, totally leveled the ski dock at Sandpiper. So effectively got laid off or, sent home for about a month. And then a ski position opened up in Cancun.
Okay.
So I was sent to Cancun after that.
So jealous. When I hear Geos get sent home for a hurricane, I just get a little jealous and irked because I was never allowed to go home. Okay.
Hurricanes were, I feel like part of my experience and really, I mean, there's a lot of bad things that happened from hurricanes, but there was some good that happened for me as well. And, for one, there was, Hurricane Francis sent me to Cancun, but also Hurricane Wilma removed me from Cancun and sent me back to Sandpiper, where eventually I met my wife. And you could say if it wasn't for Hurricane Wilma, I wouldn't have ended up in Sandpiper and wouldn't have met my wife. So there is some good that happens as well.
All right. Now, before we move on from Sandpiper to Cancun, where we met, do you have any other stories you want to share from Sandpiper? Did I miss anything? Because we had a lot of talk about at Cancun, but just wanted to make sure.
I mean, there's not a ton because I was only there for 3 or 4 months. So,
all right. So I meet you. So you're part of so I guess since you had already done 3 months at Sandpiper, I didn't know when I, accepted Cancun, I didn't know I was walking into kind of what everyone says, the dream team or, heavy hitters, whatever you want to call it. Did you get a sense of that from Sandpiper? Did you know what you were walking into when you met, Red and Freddie? And
it was definitely a different caliber of geo. I'll just say that once I got into Cancun, a lot more tenure, a lot more experience. And it felt like an elevated geo experience for sure. And people before, when I said I was going to go into Cancun, people were like, oh man, there's a great team there. Chief of Village is Hendel. He's awesome. And, I kind of thought people were just trying to build it up for me, but yeah, it was definitely true. It was an elevated experience and it was quite different than the first few months in Sandpiper.
Yeah, because we also had downtown Cancun, right? Now, were you a Daddy-O's or were you a Coco Bongo guy? What was your favorite hunt?
Yeah, I think Daddy-O was my go-to, and it was great because we would bring guests there and get in free, and so they all knew our names by the end of the season. And
we had a bit of a hurricane at the first couple of months there too, right? I mean, it wasn't that huge, but I remember a little cleanup from that. You were there for that, right?
Yep. I don't remember which one. Maybe it was like
it was early. Yeah, it was early on. I mean, some water got in the theater, and it wasn't. I've been through bad ones, but this one wasn't so bad. We all stayed. Nothing closed.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah. So no, it was Cancun was. Yeah, I mean, speaking of Daddy-O, right there, it also led to a lot of late nights. So we'll just say I had more challenges getting up early in Cancun.
Okay.
My job, it was a little bit more challenging than Sandpiper. And because of that, so Red was my chief of water ski. And there were a few mornings where I was late. And then there was and so a few mornings, it was like, just really tough to get up. Another teammate had to come in and get me up. And anyway, so I was kind of already on thin ice with Red. And I think it was like, shortly thereafter, all my, late arrivals, I lost the gas cap to one of the boats, to one of the ski boats, which was a huge issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, we were gassing it up. So we took the cap and put it on the back of the boat. And once we were done gassing, put the gas thing away. And just forgot to put the cap back on and drove away with the boat. And, and then we never saw the gas cap again. So, being in Mexico with these boats, the boats are, US manufactured boats and really difficult to get parts down there. So I thought at that point, Red was just going to say, all right, this guy's not working out. He's got to go. And I thought I was going to be gone that day. And I know it was on Red's mind, and he was contemplating it as well. So I'm really thankful that didn't happen, because like I said, one thing led to another, and ended up, staying at Club Med for a lot longer, and ended up meeting my wife. And if I was let go because of that gas cap, my life would, I think, be a lot different than it is today. So
that's right.
Yeah.
They ever find that gas cap?
No,
Okay.
definitely not.
Well, let me ask you a question about water ski now, and your time at Sandpiper in Cancun. Do you recall, because I teach windsurfing, and some people just don't get it. So was there ever a GM that comes to mind where they just could not get up on two skis? And that you were like, oh God, not again. Did it ever happen?
No, I mean, I think our team, we did a really good job of getting people up. It was actually a really rewarding experience. I helped, blind people get up on skis, deaf people get up on skis, and it was really, really rewarding. There was one woman that she was really physically disabled, but she, came down to the water ski dock in a wheelchair, and her family said, she used to be really athletic, and she's had this thing going on, but she really, really, really wants to get up on water skis. So we did like everything we possibly could. One of us was in the water with her. One of us was driving the boat, giving instruction, and our team managed to get this woman up on skis. And, we got pictures with her afterwards. And apparently, those pictures were up on, their refrigerator at home afterwards. And because it was just such a great experience for that guest. So I wouldn't say that there was anybody that we couldn't get up on skis. And that was probably the most rewarding one.
And this blind person, I guess you were using the bar and you were next to her? Is that how you did it?
Yep, exactly. Yep. We just gave a lot of instruction, just, over communicated verbally.
The advantage I see of being blind in water skiing is when you fall, you don't see Albert the crocodile. So let me ask you this: what did you see or think the first time you're like, there's an alligator crocodile? Like, what did you think when you saw him?
No, it's terrifying. Yeah,
it is, right?
Yeah. So, back behind the, there was that island in the middle of the lagoon there where we do the water ski shows. And
yeah,
one day, Freddie Birmingham and I are practicing for the show. And, so we kind of put in at the back there and, start up going down what we called Alligator Alley. So we can kind of pull around in front of the pool. But just when Freddie jumped in the water, or so before we got there, Albert was out sunbathing on one of the stoops right outside of the hotel. And just as Freddie jumps in the water, we look over at Albert, and he just jumped in the water like seconds after that. And so he's like, we knew that there was never anything that happened, but if the alligator jumps or the crocodile jumps in the water at the same time you do, that's terrifying, right?
Yeah. It's not a coincidence, right?
So Freddie's like, Parker, go. So we get Freddie up on skis and get him out of there as quickly as possible. But that was definitely unnerving. You can't see through the water. You don't know what's under there. And so you just try to kind of look around and hope that you see an alligator or a crocodile out of water.
Yeah, he used to hang out under the, where the pool, like underneath the pool, kind of where he used, so we'd drop off for the pyramid, and he'd be right. I once saw him chomping on a turtle. Like, oh God, where's the boat?
Exactly.
What was your favorite? Did you have a favorite trick or passage in the water ski show that you like to do?
Yeah, I learned a lot when I was in Cancun. So when I arrived to Cancun, I only knew really how to do what we call a step off. So you start on one ski and then step off with one foot and then drop that one ski. So you end up barefooting.
Speaking of, I know I mentioned barefoot in your intro, and that you're teaching your daughter, but I think you told me in your pre-interview that while you were at Sandpiper, you met someone named Mike Seipel. Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was one day there was a boat show that Sandpiper was hosting. And So a lot of pros came in, and somebody by the name of Mike Seipel came in, and he is actually a world famous barefooter. And I kind of spotted him, and I sat down and had one of the meals with him and just started chatting it up. And I mentioned that all I could do at the time, as far as barefooting, was doing a step off where you start on one ski and then you step off with one foot, and then you end up dropping that ski into a barefoot. But I wanted to learn how to do it deep water, starting without skis.
And so after meeting Mike the next day, I think you guys got together and agreed to meet in the morning, I guess, before your activity opened.
Yep, exactly. So we met first thing in the morning and spent about an hour out on the water. And by the end of it, he had me, doing deep water starts, and I was doing a couple different tricks on the water as well. So, and then he ended up selling me one of his barefoot suits as well. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. So that was really cool. One, meeting him, but also learning that quickly from a pro like him.
How thick is I assume this is like a shorty, right? Wetsuit. So how thick is a barefoot? I'm guessing this is because if you fall, it hurts, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it has pretty substantial padding on your butt and in the back of your legs, and then also your back, because when you start deep water, you're riding on the water on your butt for a while until you're going fast enough to stand up. So it's pretty significant back there, and it's buoyant too, right? So you don't need a life jacket on top of that.
The only reason I never wanted to try barefoot, I love to ski, was that I don't know if this goes through your head or you just automatically don't think about it. I'm always afraid of hitting that piece of wood you don't see to the last second, or something floating in the water. Does this ever run across your mind when you're doing this?
It's run across my mind, and it's also run across my foot as well. It's definitely happened to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, barefooting here in Austin, it happened to me, and it totally caught me by surprise. I hit a pretty significant log, cut my foot, bruised me up pretty good. So
it didn't break your foot, thank God, right?
No, it didn't break my foot, but it was it didn't feel good. It felt like it shattered my foot at the time, but there was nothing. I can
imagine. How does the boat have to pull you faster when you're barefoot as opposed to on skis?
Yeah,
especially deep water.
Yes, yep. So you do have to go. I mean, they say you take your weight, divide by 10 and add 20, but that's probably the minimum speed. I like to go about 40, anywhere from 42 to 44 miles per hour, just to be a little bit more comfortable back there. But yeah, so, going into Cancun, I knew how to do some deep water starts and do a tumble turn, but we had the barefoot show every week where I really had to push myself to learn new tricks. So when I first got to Cancun, there was someone doing what we call the restaurant jump.
Yes.
Where
second floor, right?
What's that?
The second floor of the restaurant overlooking the lagoon.
Exactly.
Did you do that?
Well, at first I was like, there's no chance that I'm going to do this. I'm not good with heights. And I have no interest in doing this. But, the person that was doing the restaurant jump ended up leaving the club. So,
because you always did it by two, right? I believe I used to see two people doing it, right?
Yep. I did it once with Freddie Birmingham at the same time we did the restaurant jump. So that was, you're jumping out of the window and you hear people, spectators like screaming, like, oh my gosh, they're jumping out of the window. So it was pretty cool. It was, you really had to have a really good boat driver, because the water wasn't deep there. It was only about 8 feet deep. So if you went straight down, you're gonna hit the bottom hard. So you had to have the boat driver
or Albert. Yeah,
or Albert. Right.
Yeah.
You kind of had to get scooped up. But so I learned that trick. Also learned something called the 2-ski jump out, where you start on 2 skis, you get going really fast, and then you just jump out of those skis and land barefooting. That was a really tough trick to learn. I fell really hard a lot of times, but that was a really cool trick.
I'm guessing you fall forward more than back when you're learning that trick, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hit my head pretty hard a couple times.
Ouch.
But it was a really cool trick. I was proud of that. And the restaurant jump.
What was the name of the one? I used to love this one. I forget what it's called, where you have 2 skiers and then all of a sudden one goes on the out, one goes on the in, and the boat driver just, swerves it. What was that one called? And
that was called the Big 8.
Oh yeah, the Big A. Did you ever do that one?
I did that. Yeah.
Okay,
Did
I
that
love
a
that one.
bunch of times. That was a lot of fun. Yeah. That was a really good trick.
Did you ever do that with Joe Pilo?
I did it with Joe. Yeah. One time, I think it was like one of us I think it was Joe. We did the Big Eight together, and like I think it might have been my fault, but Joe ended up like not making it back around and ended up getting dropped like right in front of Albert the crocodile.
Yeah.
So I think she blames me for that.
She's fine. She's fine. Give her a follow on Instagram, guys. She's fine.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was a fun trick. Yep.
All right. So what else did you like about Cancun? Like any funny, interesting stories? Did you have a good time there? I imagine, yes.
I had a blast there. Yeah.
It's a real good season.
It was a really good season. I made friends there that are still friends to this day. James Martin, I worked with there. He was in my wedding. So somebody that I've stayed in touch with and still good friends with to this day. We've gone on vacations together.
You went on vacation with James Martin?
I did, yeah.
And you lived to tell about it? Whoa. I'm kidding. I love you, James. He knows that.
Yeah. We went to the Bahamas, went to Eleuthera, actually.
Oh, wow.
In the Bahamas a couple of years ago and rented a house together. Our families met up and rented a house, and it was a really good time. So anyway, yeah, I mean, met people that I stay in touch with to this day, like you.
Yes.
And several others.
Cancun, you go back to Sandpiper. Now, was that by choice or they needed you there?
Yeah, they needed me there. I didn't really have a choice, but I wanted to stick with water skiing. And so we were all kind of cooped up in Chichen Itza as we were kind of waiting out the hurricane, and got a note that I was going to be going back to Sandpiper. So I was glad that it worked out. It was for a water ski geo spot, and yeah, glad that it worked out.
And you did a full 6 months there, right?
I did.
Who was your chief of village there? Sorry.
Chief of village was David Meyer.
Okay.
Yep. And actually, I did a year there when I went back.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And now you have something interesting. I see you were in Ixtapa. Now, in Ixtapa in 2006, you were chief of beach. Now, Parker, I recall, never came down to sailing, or did he? Or where did you learn how to sail to be chief of beach?
I learned on the job. So,
okay.
Yeah, as my second season at Sandpiper, water skiing was closed. So they said, Parker, you're gonna be a sailing geo next season. So so that second season in Sandpiper, I kind of learned to sail on the job. James Martin was the chief of beach at that time, and so he and I went out occasionally.
Okay, so you were in good hands then. Okay.
Good hands. Yep. And then so after I left Sandpiper, the position in Ixtapa was chief of beach. So I was able to, take my limited knowledge of sailing and take it to Sandpiper. So
how fast?
Take it to Ixtapa.
How fast could you teach someone to sail? 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
Yeah, pretty quick. Those Hobie cats are pretty simple. Yeah, probably 5 to 10 minutes. Especially there wasn't a ton of wind in Ixtapa, so you couldn't really get in too much trouble. But
okay, good. Because I was going to ask you if you had trick questions for the guests who insisted they were expert sailors yet had never sailed in their life. So I was going to ask you if you had if you used the 3 trick questions. But if you're telling me there was no wind, you couldn't even capsize, right? Sounds like how you're describing it. Okay.
Well, it's usually the person that says that they're an expert that you end up having to tow back.
Yeah, or what happened in Cancun, they capsized under the dock. Never saw that one before, but yeah, literally got off the beach, immediately capsized as soon as he left the sand, and then the boat went under the dock. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, from an expert. Okay. Well, let's go back to Sandpiper a sec, because I think you mentioned you met your future wife in Sandpiper.
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
she was
GM, right?
Club.
Oh, she was Mini Club Geo. Oh, sorry, she was a Geo, Mini Club Geo.
Yep, she was a Mini Club Geo, and met her. I think it was backstage one night. We were practicing for the pirate show or getting ready for the pirate show, and introduced myself to her, and she kind of like shrugged me off. She's like, "Oh, hey, nice to meet you," and then like continued what she was doing. And then
she shrugged you off because you were the elephant guy, or what? Why did she shrug you off with extreme prejudice? What happened?
Yeah, that second tour in Sandpiper, there was a whole new crew there. Nobody really knew about the elephant, except for the people that came with me from Cancun. So I guess I had some elephant demonstrations to do.
Who came with you from Cancun? Do you remember?
Oh,
if not, it's okay. I was just curious.
Yeah, there was probably about 10, 15 of us.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
that's
there was
pretty,
a good
pretty
crew
big,
that came. Yeah.
So she rebuffs you, okay, with extreme prejudice. I don't know if I'm just adding that because it sounds funny, but how did you break the ice? I mean, I assume you didn't do the elephant, so she found out you were charming and kind and always smiling, right? Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
But I kept, I think I was just really persistent and, kept up with it. But later I let her know that, I didn't want anything serious, which is really funny because I ended up marrying her. So,
Parker, you never stood a chance, did you?
Yeah. Okay. Exactly.
Now, did she go with you to Ixtapa as a mini club?
She did, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
She and I. So when she was at Sandpiper, so that second season in Sandpiper, she went from mini club to fitness geo. So
okay.
So she learned fitness and then went to Ixtapa as a fitness geo as well.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
All right, let's can we veer from Club Med, because I mentioned in your intro that I run the odd marathon, and I mentioned that you run 50K. So you have a day where, you know what, I'm going to run a marathon and then run 8 kilometers longer than that. So what possesses someone in their right mind? Okay, and this is a compliment. Like, I'm happy when the race is over, but why would you ever want to do trail running? I could see, but why would you want to run 50K? I guess is what I'm trying to ask you.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's definitely, not for everybody, but for me, I'd never done any trail running. When I moved from Chicago to Austin about 8 years ago, I started running in the woods or hiking, and then I started running in the woods after that. And somebody suggested I sign up for a trail race. It was a 10K. So I signed up for it and did pretty well. Finished, I think, 5th place overall. But as I, was looking around, there were other races going on. There was a half marathon, there was a 50K, and I'm like, what? Like, I didn't even know that this was a thing, right, at that point. So I learned about the 50K. I learned about anything over a marathon, which is 26.2 miles. Anything over a marathon is technically an ultra marathon. So I'm like, all right, well, that seems, it fits. That's like on brand for me. I don't want to just regular water ski. I want to barefoot water ski. I don't want to trail run. I want to ultra run. So I was like, whatever that is, I want to figure out how to do that. So, because I knew that I was decent at it, and just needed to figure out how to go longer. So started running with a group here in Austin, and so 50K is really the entry point for ultra marathons. And there's an entire community of ultra runners out there that really just thrive on the 100-mile races. Yep. I haven't done that yet, but I think it probably will be in my future at some point. But I really like getting out, running in the woods for just hours at a time, and just kind of getting lost. It's almost meditative for me. And if you can do that and feel good about it, and actually, do well with it, why not try to push yourself? And what I found was that our bodies are capable of more than we think they are. And I think that's just true. You find that with ultra running, is that our bodies are meant to do hard things. We can do hard things. Of course, you need to train, and you need to have the right mindset. And there's a lot of things that need to, all happen at the same time, but we're built for these things, and we can do that.
And you also became a shoe ambassador along the way. Is that true?
Yeah. So there was a pair of shoes, or a shoe brand really, that I kind of gravitated towards, called Topo Athletic. And so I applied to be an ambassador, and I'm like, hey man, these, my application was like, hey, these shoes totally changed my running career and got me into ultra running, and kept me happy and healthy. And so I started working with Topo Athletic. I'm not with them anymore, but it was like the the entry point for me into ultra running. So grateful for them.
And you're in you live in Texas now, right?
I do. I'm in Austin. Yep.
So what's the heat like over there when you're doing your training?
The heat is legit in the summer. It's really challenging.
So you try and go really early, I guess, or no?
I mean, yeah, you definitely need to go early, but it's still hot. You learn to deal with the heat in the summer, and once the fall or winter comes around, you're doing really well. Your body is adapted, and you're running faster. Your heart rate's lower. So it's has the pluses and minuses. It's challenging to train in the summer in Austin, but you can get a lot of benefits from it as well.
Okay, I have one question about hospitality and tourism, because you earned a master's degree.
Yep.
For that, congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
But also you had told me, or you wrote to me, that your maternal grandfather owned and ran a famous and historic hotel in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So yeah. How long ago are we talking? Like what was the name of the hotel?
Yeah, the name of the hotel is the Pfister Hotel. It's a historic luxury hotel in Milwaukee. And so I got involved with Club Med, and after Club Med, I went and got a master's degree. I worked for Hilton. So, there's always been this kind of gravitational pull towards hospitality and tourism for me. And I think it's really because, I say that hospitality is in my blood. My grandfather kind of grew up in the hotel in the Pfister, and then later became the GM and owner of the hotel as well. So I'd like to say it's in my blood.
I'll say. Can we go back to Club Med for a sec?
Absolutely.
So we mentioned some names, so I was wondering if you'd like to take the time now, like if I ask you, were there any employees or managers you enjoyed working with, made a good impression on you, what would you say?
Yeah. Well, I mentioned Red earlier. I'm definitely grateful for Red because, like I said, my life would have been a lot different if he had fired me for that gas cap. But, when I first started there, Adam Macy was my head of ski in Sandpiper. He really took me under his wing. I'm sure there was a moment where he was like, is this guy gonna last here? Is this guy gonna work out? He really helped me out and kind of mentored me a little bit. Christy Toth, she was I think they called them integration GOs, right? Because there's this massive culture, and culture shift when you.
Oh, that's right. Started. Yes, she was.
So she kind of, she showed me around.
Yeah. What I loved about her is ask her where she's from. She'd say Strong Island, not Long Island, Strong Island.
Yeah.
Great girl.
Yep, exactly. I mentioned James Martin.
Yes.
And then
MC
Levi.
Yes.
Levi 501. So he and I stayed in touch quite a bit. And he actually was at my wedding as well. And he, for, weddings, he kind of planned who's doing the speeches and things like that. Levi just kind of interrupts the MC, and he's like, "Yeah, I want to say something on the."
Oh no!
I want to say something about Parker too. This is at the wedding. Nobody planned on.
Okay.
Right. So, and I'm like, and the MC asked me, he's like, "Is this okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. What's the worst that could happen?"
But I don't know. I've seen a lot of those movies where those speeches go wrong. So it went well, I guess.
Yeah, no, I'm just kind of holding my breath, but it was a really nice speech, and it was awesome. So anyway, yeah, all was good.
Okay. Anyone else come to mind?
Yeah, there's so many people. Boone is somebody that I keep in touch with today as well, but I don't think he and I actually worked in the same village at the same time. But also folks like JP DeLay and JK Cryer worked really closely with those folks. And there's something in Austin. I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but there's something in Austin that I joined this thing called the Austin Barefoot Ski Club when I first moved to Austin, and they do this race It's called the Dam to Dam race. It's a 23-mile barefoot endurance race.
What?
From one dam to the other dam.
23 miles barefoot?
Yeah, and you do a team of
okay. It's not one guy
minimum
doing it. Okay.
It's like a relay. You do a team of minimum of 4 people, and you got to really nail the transitions, like, from one skier to the next. It's like 10 to 15 seconds.
What's this on average? How long does that take? 23 miles dam to dam?
Yeah. So, if you do the quick, monkey math, there's about 23 miles. The boats are going, upper 40s. Some boats can even go like low 50s, and you got to do the transitions. The transitions take about 10 to 15 seconds. So some teams are they're doing it in like, 30, 35 minutes, something like that. Maybe
really?
even less.
Wow. Okay. I would have thought an hour. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably more realistic is an hour, but some of the teams are going a lot faster. But anyway, I was trying to get a Club Med team together for the Dam to Dam, and so kept in touch with folks like JP and Boone and JK. We're trying to nice. get a team together for the next Dam to Dam. So if any of you guys are listening, or anybody else that wants to do it, let me know.
Yes. Yeah. Are you still in contact with JK?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Tell him to reach out to me. Trying to get him on forever.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'm sure he'd love it. Yeah.
And what are let me ask you, you've had time to think about it. So what are the 3 things you miss the most about Club Med?
Yeah. I think I mentioned earlier that we met people all over the world. I think that was so cool. It pushed me out of, I think, when you kind of walk up to a table and ask people if you can sit there, and join them and talk to them, people you've never met before, or, somebody that's hanging out in the bar, you just kind of go up and strike up a conversation about, who knows what. I think that was really cool. It, pushed us all, or a lot of us, outside of our comfort zone. But for me, it kind of developed my sales career. I'm in sales right now. I've been in sales for about 15 years, and I credit a lot of those skills to just being a GO and talking to people, getting information out of people. And I really, really value that. But also, doing the shows as well. I love doing the shows. I love doing the crazy signs. I miss barefoot shows. That was pretty cool. I mean, we had boats to use, unlimited gasoline to use, everything, free equipment to push ourselves and learn more new tricks and improve. That was pretty cool because, gas isn't cheap these days, and I don't have a boat. So it's that was a luxury to have all that.
Yeah. It's nice just to go skiing or sailing at the drop of a dime, right? You don't have to, boat's already ready and you just go. Yeah. I miss that too.
Yeah. But I'd say the people, one, the guests that we met, but also the GOs that I worked with. Like I said, stay in touch with a lot of them and really value that. So, miss the people for sure.
All right. Before I let you go, am I forgetting to ask you anything? Is there something you wanted to say? Someone you wanted to mention? Anything like that? Now is the time, sir.
Yeah. I mean, another thing too that trail running is kind of led me to is over the last couple of years, I really realized this is a pitch for trail running, but it's once I started spending more time out in nature, I just started to feel a lot better. And that's something that, it really, really goes a long way when, all of us have, stressful jobs and families. And I found that just getting outside in nature, walking in the woods was really, therapeutic, meditative for me. So I've been obsessing over the last couple of years about figuring out how to help do this for more people at scale, because I knew that it wasn't just me. It wasn't just me that could benefit from being outside. So I started working with this company called NatureQuant that tracks quality and also the quantity of time that you spend out in nature. So I've always been kind of an outdoor person. So it's it's also just a really good reminder to stay outside spend as much time as I can outside, because there's all sorts of science and data that shows that people that do spend more time outside live happier and healthier lives. And so I guess it's a pitch for helping us all spend more time outside.
Well, it's funny because you worked with Joe Pilon, and all I see on her Instagram is that girl's always outside. So I think
Yeah.
you two are definitely onto something. Yeah, and I definitely need to do more of that. Working downtown Montreal. So
Yeah.
no, definitely right, sir.
Yep.
Well said.
Um, let's see. Anything else?
I mean, I know we covered a
I'd
lot,
say,
but I don't want you to forget anything, or if you wanted to, mention someone. I just wanted to make sure we got it all.
yeah, I think we got it all. Yeah, it was really good. I
Well, no,
appreciate the opportunity.
I want to thank you for taking the time to share your story with us, Parker. This was awesome.
For sure. For sure. It's been a blast. Really appreciate the conversation, bringing up a lot of these old memories too. Got a smile on my face for sure.
Good, because I have a big one on mine. And everyone, that was the man, the myth, the legend, Parker Burke. And we will see you all next week. Bye. Say bye, Parker.
Bye, everybody. Thanks again.